Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey,
Hey, that's somebody for you.
what's the matter with
Happy having
you?
the Savage anniversary. No, anyways, Savage AF, man. You know what it is, guys.
Wait a minute.
Uh,
How do we get that? Oh, yeah. Let me just.
what happened? Are we good? Oh,
Yeah,
there
we're
you go.
good.
Savage AF, man. Forget your feelings, guys. Facts matter. And I don't think that's ever going to be proven more than today's show, but we'll get into that later. But forget your feelings. Facts matter. Savage AF. I'm Black Pedro. This guy to my virtual right is none other than
Uh,
the one and only.
Shang.
There
Yeah.
you go, boy. Yeah,
I'm
that's what
just
it
saying.
is. Only needs one name because that's how much game he got. Give it up, man. Savage AF. We're a therapeutic community based program. I here for you Monday through Friday, typically at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, typically. And that's live on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. Now, if you ever miss us live, that's your fault. I just gave you the information. Don't be dumb, okay? But if you are, if you do have a brain fart or maybe hit your head or fall out of a building or
Yeah,
whatever
stuff like
happened,
that happens, especially if you're
yeah,
a Piston. If you played against the Pistons, you probably hit your head a lot. But
hey
no, but I mean,
man,
but
but you
go ahead.
didn't hit your shots, did you?
Oh, okay, okay.
Savage AF, man. We if you ever miss us live, we before we get into this debate here, you can catch us on YouTube. All the shows are archived. Our channel is youtube.com/c/Savage AF
Savage AF
World,
World.
all one word. And when you get there, do
Click it,
this.
click it, click it, click it. Yeah, and that's not all. That's not all. Okay, but once you get there, there's a lot of other stuff. We need these thumbs up. And this. A lot of loud noises. All right, but I know you can a lot of
How'd your
loud noises.
kids?
Yeah, but that's not what we're done. We're not done. Also, if you get a chance, there's a certain application or app or whatever you want to call it that I need you
Platform.
to a platform, and I need you to go there. And if you don't,
And yeah, he didn't enjoy doing that.
I'm
He
sorry,
doesn't
I
want to
didn't
do
want to
that.
do that, but that will be your
Come
neck.
on.
All right, so make sure
That
you
will be your neck. Okay.
subscribe to
I didn't expect that.
at Black Pedro. That's right. Follow on the Ig, and make sure you follow comedian Shang
Shang.
on the goddamn Iggy. And put that banner up that I can't figure out how to. Well, I'm messing it up right now.
Which
You
one?
got
What?
nah, man.
What you trying to get me to put up?
It's supposed to be Savage. The name is Savage. Where's it? Why ain't it working?
I don't know what you mean. I'm
I
sorry.
don't know why it's not working. There
Oh,
it
that
is.
one right there. Oh yeah, I was about to. I just saw it.
Oh, no. It's Savage. No,
That's not the one you want.
no. That's it. That's it. We see
Okay.
people in the feed.
I
It's
see
like
y'all, man. All right. So here's what it is. In addition to Facebook, and this is more of like a
Savage
you know,
Sports Fridays, bro.
yeah. Well, I was also going to tell them, yeah, make sure they follow us on the Igs, and they did already. So Savage Sports Fridays. Let's get into it, man. This is a special edition show, and this is simply because Shang yesterday took it upon himself.
I took it
Kuchadamas
upon
is in the
myself.
building.
What's up,
Damani
Kushadamas?
Jones, Maylena,
Kushadamas,
Zenat,
yeah, okay.
Breezy. Shang took it upon himself to senselessly and unprovoked attack my Detroit Pistons,
No, I didn't attack them.
specifically the Pistons of the Bad Boy
But we're
era.
gonna start off. Look at what we're starting off with first. Okay, just
No. I just want to let everybody know why why we're doing
Why
this.
we're starting. Oh, okay.
Why?
That's your out. That's your out, everybody. Yeah, we gonna talk about some shit. But Pedro for a second lost his mind and in a couple different scenarios. And just going to clarify those things.
So wait. Yeah. So I mean, what are we starting with? You tell me. I thought this was going to be a debate about
No. We're
how
gonna start
dirty
off.
the Pistons were.
No, we're gonna get there. But we'll start off with first. Is LeBron James the best ever? Is LeBron James now we still I know we went
No,
over that, but
we already talked. We already
but
talked about that yesterday.
there's a reason. I know we talked about it yesterday, but it's a big deal. Is LeBron James, other than being I don't know what face that is.
Yeah, that's when he was on the Muppets.
I wanted to ask the people. I personally think. Now you said he was.
Yeah.
And I'm saying he ain't.
Statistically, and well, I'm not sure what would who would be the greatest.
Will Chamberlain.
Man, we're not talking about how many women you bagged. We're talking about buckets in
Will
the NBA, brother.
He put a lot of buckets into buckets, and he put a lot of buckets into buckets. That's why Will Chamberlain is yes. I put.
We're talking about basketball dunking, not dick dunking, man.
I'm telling
dick,
you, look,
dick dunks. Yes,
one of the best ever to do it. I was trying to find footage of him. He was he was off the chain. Look at that. Man, look out, baby. Man.
Dog, it doesn't matter. 10,000 women will be, that's just a stat that, I don't even think anybody should go for in this day and age. You know what I mean? But other than that, there's no way. He doesn't lead the NBA in anything except for dick dunking. You know what I mean? Like, seriously.
I think that okay, so now the people. Wow, we got a few people in the feed. Kuchadamas, what's up, man? Will you just tell him now? I don't think LeBron James is the best because you still got a couple other players like Kobe, goddamn motherfucking Bryant, Michael. Goddamn, this is not a gratuitous. This is just look at that. Oh, it's a thing of beauty.
Michael Jordan is number 5 on the all-time scoring list. Kobe Bryant is number 4. I think Wilt is so Kareem's obviously number 2. LeBron is number 1 now. So LeBron is like top 5 in so many categories. It's fairly ridiculous. He is number 1 in scoring. LeBron is number 4 all time in assists. What's the other big? Scoring percentage, like career scoring average. He's in the top 5. I think he's 3 or 4-ish in that as well. So, and he's above Michael Jordan and Kobe in those categories.
No one's above Michael Jordan.
Kobe. Well, first of all, you already said Wilt was. So hold on. So I need you to get this or organize that for me.
I'm thinking Michael Jordan. All right.
Oh God. All right. So
just gonna freak out.
Kobe already proved that Michael Jordan could be duplicated, right? Like
what?
You could do that. Kobe Bryant almost, perfectly mimicked Jordan's career.
No, that's bullshit. No.
And moves and physicalities and Kobe, on purpose patterned his game after Michael Jordan, even to the tongue sometimes. Like Kobe was trying to be Michael Jordan, and in my opinion, did it.
Okay, and in my opinion, Michael.
So Jordan ain't the greatest.
Even Michael Jordan's even going. What is Pedro
no? If we can make another one of you, then you ain't the greatest. The greatest is something that's like not, and for me, I can't say Shaq was the greatest player, but I think he was the greatest force and like the greatest physical body
Yeah,
type
but he was so
the
big.
NBA will
He
ever
just
see.
turned around and went.
Yeah, but no, I mean, but there have been a lot of big guys who could have been powerful. But Shaq was explosive, athletic. Uh, you know, he could do just about anything except shoot free throws and three pointers consistently. But
So he couldn't
other
shoot.
than that,
Shaq ain't even in the conversation. Plus, he's a Republican, so fuck him. Now,
is he?
yeah, he's a fucking right wing suck. Hey, Shaq, I'm not gonna say it to your face because I met you, you gigantor. You know what? Thanos called and he wants his shoes back, bitch. But
Wow, just got personal.
wow, that got personal. But LeBron James, yes, I see what you're saying. And with different play, but he did fantastic. But when I did the research, I had to go with I got to go with Kobe Bryant and tied with Michael Jordan. And even they're both talking, going, "What the fuck?
They're the same.
What
They're
the
the same
fuck?
motherfucker.
What the fuck
Dog, they're the same player.
is Pedro talking about?"
Bro,
That's
they
what they
are the
said.
same
That's
player.
not true.
Now, Damani Jones notes that Wilt was taking him down. AJ says he has more kids in the world than have been on Maury. That's Wilt as well, I'm sure.
AJ Fitton
Um,
says, "No one can shoot like Curry, consistently making buckets anywhere on the court." Agreed.
hey, again, I currently, but I would AJ Fit encourage you to watch the Showtime documentary called Stand. If you haven't, it's about the player formerly known as Chris Jackson, who changed his name to Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, and he's definitely Steph's predecessor, like leaps and bounds, like no question about it. So
No question about it.
there have been shooters like that as well. I think Kevin Durant is a unique situation because of his body type and the way he is able to shoot. I think for his body type, he is my favorite shooter of all time.
Okay.
Um, but
I'm gonna
and
go
and
with
I also think some of these things should be broken down. But overall, and you can break them down to positions and skill sets. But um, LeBron James, I think overall is the greatest player of all time. You know what I mean? Like he can shoot from everywhere on the court. He's been proven to be as clutch as anybody in the playoffs.
okay.
Um,
Look at
so
Pedro with his basketball knowledge. But let me tell you something, okay? We're talking about all around impact of the game, and I don't think LeBron did really all around impact of the game. I'm gonna have to go with. I still think that
mm,
I think that Jordan, if you look at it,
okay,
if you look at
and Damani Jones notes that so many rules was changed because of Jordan. I want to get into that a little bit deeper in a bit, Damani, but I definitely agree with you. There's no argument to that. But I will say that um, in taking his talents to South Beach, as they say, that LeBron James did have an impact and change the game culturally. Um, in these players really getting into this or getting out of the rivalry space, which is
and
a
just
space
trying to get
which is the
rings.
space we're going to talk about it, and just trying to get rings and team up and super team up, and LeBron's original move from Cleveland to Miami, um, although it didn't pan out the first year, they did get two championships out of that run, and him and Chris Bosh and D Wade
But I'm gonna
as a sort of super team. And I think it started the super team era and mentality where it's like,
okay,
let's get three of the best guys in the league,
okay,
mash them together, get a few
and
helpers around them,
and
and
they
then
made a
make a run.
Voltron. They basically made a Voltron. They made a
Yeah, make a
basketball
run.
Voltron. They made Voltron work. Then the tiger head was him. But LeBron, I like the fact that he did. I don't know why he's trying to look all sexy over there. What the fuck you looking at us like that for,
He
man?
just got a McDonald's contract or some shit. Like,
Oh yeah,
that
that's
was
why.
he's doing the calculations on the
He's
promotional
doing the
number. Yeah.
calculations. No,
Yeah.
I say LeBron did not affect the. I got to give it to Jordan. I give it to
All right.
Jordan more than
So
and Kobe because I think that not Magic Johnson, not Larry Bird, none of them. I got to give it to these two men over LeBron because I think more people watch basketball because of them not and Will Chamberlain for the dick mastery that he did by fucking so many women. He got more points in the pussy than he does in on the court, and I got to give him props.
No,
Sorry.
he's a I think he's in the top 5 in scoring, or definitely top 10. But Will Chamberlain, yeah, it's one of those guys. Also, didn't he score 100 points in the game? So
Yeah, so you got to
uh,
put him as one of the greatest. There was
oh,
so
of
many
course,
people. There's so many people, but I'm saying if you go
but
to
the best player of
the
all
top
time.
three, top players of all time, and I still would have to give it to Jordan, uh, LeBron, and Kobe.
Wait, now you left Wilt out. I thought Wilt was in your top 3. No,
No, I didn't say he
you
was
see, you
top three.
started the show and said Wilt was the best of all
I
time.
know. I
Then you flipped to Jordan, and
yeah.
now Kobe's there. Shang, I'm not sure who your stats staff is
And you
over
know who
there,
else I'm
but
gonna
you guys
say?
might want to get it together a little
You
bit.
know what I'm gonna say? A guy named Dean Clark.
What was that? Your high school gym teacher? Who is
All
that?
I know is that in high school, this motherfucker, man, he was like the only kid that could dunk. And Dean Clark, what's up, man? Hope you're doing
All right,
well. I know he's a manager at Rite Aid right now, but I'm gonna tell you something.
there you go.
God damn it, let's put Dean Clark in there. A lot
Let's
of
go.
people don't know. And see, some of you people in the feed, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
All right,
You're
all
all wrong.
right. So wait, all right. So if you're asking me if LeBron James is the best ever, I'm gonna say yes. Obviously, Shang has at least 15 people he thinks is the best player ever. Um,
Okay. Well, you know what?
but
What about Charles Barkley?
uh, you know, he's
I think
one
that
of the
Charles
he's
Barkley is
one of the
one of
great
the best
he's one
ever
of the greatest
born.
positional players of all time. Like,
No,
yeah, like
listen.
as an all around overall player, I wouldn't put Barkley in the top 5. No,
I will not.
um,
Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley
I'm not
is
sure
one of the
top
best
10 either,
players of all. Charles Barkley is
but
fantastic.
he's a
I
beast.
no, I think Charles Barkley, even though he's another right wing cunt, I think that Charles Barkley, who don't like black people, but I know that Charles Barkley, when it comes to his verbal dexterity, is one of the best sports announcers ever. Charles Barkley.
I mean, if you want to see him in the streets with that, that's
Charles
between y'all, man.
Barkley, if
I'm
I
just
see
gonna
you
leave
in
it
the
at
streets, you ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. Cause soon as you hit me, I'm gonna fall on the ground and say, "Oh, my neck, my neck, my neck," and then I'm gonna
and my
sue
back.
you. I'm gonna sue you, and I'm gonna make at least $100 million off of your ass. Cause I'm gonna tour saying I'm the nigga that Charles Barkley beat up. That'd be the name of my
Now,
tour. Charles Barkley beat me up.
now, Damani says Charles is top 200 for sure. I might have
Oh,
I might have put him in the top 20, but
damn. No,
damn,
no.
200. That's,
Damn.
that's
In the top 200?
all
No, no. All
right,
right.
man. But I want to get on
Oh no, we
to
went in there. Hey,
the meat
hey.
of it right here. Now, Shane proposed, and this will have a lot to do with Jordan as well, and
This is the one. Why was
this is
the
a
E so dirty?
oh, and I was gonna ask how bad were the bad boys, right? So we can flip in between those two, right? Like, why was the D so dirty? So,
I read
yeah,
articles on it, man. They were absolutely
I mean, I lived it, brother. Other than being on the team, I was there on the east side, bro. Just watching it. It was a culture. I was there. It was me. No, but so yesterday, Shang, put out there that the Detroit Pistons of the late '80s or the mid to late '80s and early '90s, monikered the Bad Boys. Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars,
Isaiah Thomas right here.
John Staley, Rick
Okay.
Mahorn, Bill Lambier, Dennis Rodman. So those guys got labeled the Bad Boys, and I was trying to argue, and I think it's been presented in the ESPN 30 for 30 Bad Boys special as well, that not only basketball but the East and specifically the Boston Celtics were some of the dirtiest motherfuckers of all time, and that the Pistons just learned to play like that or leaned
No,
into that
no,
style of
no, no.
basketball
No,
in order to get past,
that's not true.
truly brutal. Okay. Right.
Okay, hold up.
So,
Let's look right here where he's actually choking the shit out of Larry
man.
Bird. Look at that picture. That's
called a box out.
people.
That's called a box out.
Why does he got to do it with his neck? Violent, violent, violent. Okay, violent, violent, violent. I'm saying, okay, I looked it up. They got the most fouls in the history of fouls ever. Like they did the worst shit in the world. And look at these violence. Look at this.
That's called a box out.
That's called a box out. That's called. You know what? In fact, I got some footage of them.
All right, well, no, I got some stuff too here.
Okay, I got some footage of some of the things. This is them getting a foul.
Hold on, I can't even see it.
That's the Detroit Pistons in a nutshell. Let's go, Murr Pacheco. Let's go to Black Pedro and see what he got to say about that. Did you see how many times he hit that young man? Good Lord. That fucker.
All right, so I'm just gonna say, this is always a favorite of mine. That there you have Scottie Pippen fully trying to make himself into a neck chain for Bill Laimbeer.
Pedro's coming with the seats. But
I mean, listen, this is
okay, man. We can go right back at that. Why you got to put your fucking elbow on his neck? Look at this. That's just a martial art move. That's not a fucking foul. What the fuck you doing? He don't even got the ball. That's just a dude walking down the street getting assaulted by the Detroit Pistons. Here. You fucking thugs.
Here. Okay, no. Okay, so I just want you to understand what the Detroit Piston bad boys, what they came from. The conference and the rivalry that they came from. And their rivalry was with the Boston Celtics first, right? And hold on, I'm going to share.
Okay, I got
no. Hold on.
Go ahead.
I got you right here.
I'm gonna come back with something where there was an actual robbery, and I mean a robbery on the court.
Right. Okay. I just want you to watch this. This is a clip from the 1984.
Oh, here we go.
1984 NBA Finals between the Los Angeles Lakers and your forgotten how thug they were Boston Celtics. And I just want everybody to remember this. This is an infamous clip, but let's just bring this up. This is 1984. Joe Dumars is not yet. He's probably being drafted that year in 84. I'm 7 years old.
I'm just
watching this.
I'm thinking there's probably some chicanery going on here, and I think this might be.
Can you see the clip here?
I can see the clip.
Okay, I'm about to play it. I'm about to play it.
Deep fake.
Hold on. Watch this.
Here's Kareem, outlet to Worthy.
Outlet to Worthy. Rambis. Kevin McHale.
And now let's watch it.
All right, you see? Did we see? You want me to go back here? Let's just go back.
Okay. All right.
I'm outlet to Worthy to Rambis up for the layup. Kevin McHale clothesline. That's
white on white violence. I give you that.
The bench is emptied out, bro.
Okay,
the bench is emptied out.
But look at this.
Hold on. I just let me give that more context. Sorry.
Okay.
That's the 1984 NBA Finals. So imagine you're Isaiah Thomas, maybe Bill Laimbeer's on the team at that time, but you're looking at the team that you're trying to get through to get to the NBA Finals, and you just see one white boy clothesline another, and you're Isaiah Thomas. You're like, well, if they're doing that to each other, what the fuck they gonna do to me, right? So.
Okay.
By the end of that era, and we're essentially talking about a time from 1981 to like 1991.
Well, would they have the name, the moniker, the considered?
Well, no. They didn't get the bad boy moniker until about 88 or so, right?
Okay.
But maybe 87.
Before that, they were called the dirty Detroit Criminals.
Well, I mean, and it was still a team building that was honestly trying to get past the Celtics that were playing just like I showed you in that clip. Like maybe they weren't clotheslining guys every day, but Bird was known for his elbows, and Danny Ainge was known for flicking people on their nuts.
But you know what? Look at this attack of one of the best basketball players.
That's called a hard foul, bro.
That's called. Look, that not only is he trying to choke Jordan,
No, he's
look,
swatting at the ball.
no, and Rodman is trying to stick his finger in Jordan's butt. Look at the
Jordan
photo.
liked that though.
You know
Jordan used to
you know
like
what?
that
Look
though.
at that photo. For you people, let me tell you something. I'm bringing the receipts. Look at that. That is absolute. And this is even worse since you brought up your little
You
video.
taking snapshots. I'm trying to tell y'all about a history.
You know what? This
You
is
taking these little photos
this is a
and
situation where he's actually
but
trying to rob. He's trying to
what
rob
happened
this man.
before? What
Look at
happened
that
before
photo.
that though?
Look at that photo.
What happened before that?
He's asking him for his money out of his wallet. Look at that.
You don't know what that guy did.
No,
I can't remember his name. He was like white guy number 3 on the Bulls at that time.
Okay, but do you see him grabbing him and tell him put up money in the bag? You're fucking.
Hey, do you see? I want you to notice on the right, your little no, put it back up. On the right there, the far right, your friend, your boy, right here. You see it? You see right there?
What?
Your boy Michael Jordan. Does he look like he's in a hurry to go help his friend, his teammate? He's like, man, this Gatorade is getting me paid.
Because he's afraid of this psycho. Look at him, this fucking psycho. He was a fucking.
What do you
psycho.
think? What do you think? I'm just trying to tell you. What do you think the Celtics were? All I'm saying is, at that time, back then, sneeze. Sorry. Back then, at that time, the NBA was rough. I came across a let me see, a little fan. Where was that fanboy? That's it. A little fanboy, and this guy goes, you know, it's just like some random shit about 80s basketball. He was like, bad boys might have had the rep, but ask the players from that era, ask the Rockets or Philly or Lakers or Portland or any number of the team had to put up with Danny Ainge sticking his knee into the lane when someone was driving, or get sucker punched by the Chief, or dealt with Larry Bird and his elbow fetish, or Kevin McHale's stinky armpit maneuver.
Okay, but
I think that last one was a joke. But either way, there was just this. The Celtics were as dirty as anybody else.
Okay,
and if you really wanted to ball out with them, you had to get in there, dog.
Okay, I got more footage. I got you got footage. I got footage. Illegal. It was all.
I know
illegal.
That's not NBA. There was no Negroes in that game.
There was. I'm just telling you that was footage. They deep fake. And I'm gonna show you another thing, since I'm bringing snapshots up of these horrible criminals. They were criminals. Okay. The reason Jordan ran so fast away is because they were always coming after him.
No, and you know, anybody who really knows, because I know, I was just saying, you're not a sports dude like me.
Okay, but look at this. You know what?
That's me. Yes, we know that.
Look at this. Okay, you got one instance. I got instance.
No.
Instance. Hold up. After instance. Look, this is a threat. He said, "I'm gonna fuck your mom."
But anybody who already knows, they know. Anybody who knows that the Bulls didn't get to where they got until they got as physical as the Pistons did, right? And that's the same. That's absolutely what happened to the Pistons with the Celtics, right? And the Celtics were just the beast in the East back then, and you know, they very similar to now, but in a different style. But the Pistons had to get as physical and sometimes more physical than the Celtics to get past them. And the same thing happened with the Bulls. The Bulls got as physical, and sometimes it didn't even mean retaliation. It just meant being able to withstand, you know, the fouls. And to be honest, it wasn't up to the Pistons to call the fouls.
Okay, now
you know what I mean? The refs were what they were.
But guess what? Okay, if you look at you're saying that the Bulls didn't do as well but look at the person that was more physical. It was Rodman. Where did Rodman come from? Where did he come from?
Listen, man. They played hard and they played tough defense because the NBA allowed it back then. Now, and I want to get back to Damani's point earlier, where he was like, you know, so many rules were changed. Hey, Lady Hazel, man, how you doing? So many rules were changed because of Jordan. It was Jordan who did start to bitch about the Pistons, like, oh, they trying to hurt me. Now, listen, when the Pistons in 1988 got to the finals for the first time, and Isaiah's driving the lane, and Magic Johnson literally goes, smiley ass, hi, I'm Magic. Old corporate ass Magic. Back then, fucking stuck his elbow right in Isaiah Thomas' chest and knocked him right to the floor. And Isaiah's like, what the fuck is that? It's like, welcome to the finals, motherfucker. So all I'm saying is,
I hear you.
there was physicality back then.
There was
That
physicality
isn't allowed.
back then.
But you also didn't have Isaiah Thomas being like, Magic Johnson tried to hurt me. But bitch ass Michael Jordan did do that shit. He's like, the Pistons tried to hurt me, and I got a contract, and I got a shoe. I got a shoe, and I got kids that like me. Kids want to be like me, and they can't be like me if I'm hurt. So
okay, you're out of line, man.
The NBA changed. Hold on, the NBA changed a bunch of rules, and now we're to the point where AJ Fit is like, what did he say? He said old school basketball was better instead of all these get a hangnail, miss a game, big babies.
Shut
now
the
listen,
fuck up, AJ Fit.
Okay? No. I mean, listen,
criminals. They were criminals.
It was what the game allowed. But when you did, and Michael Jordan was a commodity, right? Like he became the greatest commodity that, the single product that the NBA was always hoping for, an ambassador to the corporate world that would bring eyes and money to the sport. He was the ultimate, like beyond, because Magic and Bird, they were kind of carrying on a dual story, like this duet from college. But Jordan was just kind of like this standout, trophy.
All right, first off, okay, you had a psycho.
So they changed they changed
even
the
though
rules.
even though he went over to the Bulls, you had this psycho.
Man, he was free. He was living free.
Yeah, apparently
he was living in a cocaine palace.
Okay, and
it's all good.
Okay, put it this way: even the people, the water boy for the Pistons was a criminal. I'm telling you right now, I did my research. No, in my opinion, the game has not been the same since Bad Boys era. And no other Miranda, you're out of line too. Look, this is their water boy. Look at this guy. That's the guy that brought the water to him. He's fucking
but
he has a
when you go to Boston and they try and poison your water, that's what it is, man.
Yeah.
So all right, man. But so I do think though, and in all seriousness about this, what you are perpetuating, my brother. I'm sorry to say
I'm not perpetuating shit. I'm just telling you.
Is a narrative.
I read the article.
No. But I read the article. Listen, I'm literally talking about living in Detroit during all of that era, man. As a kid, as a fan of basketball, as a kid who's learning about basketball by watching this stuff, right? And not just watching it through the sports lens, but also understanding it socially, politically, things of that nature. Because very early on, you come to understand that Detroit has this bad reputation just as a city nationwide in the 80s and 90s. We're a crack haven, full of violence, carjackings, guns, all kind of shit, man, going on. Like it was a dangerous city and a city full of violence, right? And majority black, right? Like one of the blackest cities in America, right? So when you put all of those narratives together, and then you realize that the NBA or our NBA team is representing this black city with this bad reputation, and then they start doing the same things basketball wise. Basketball wise that the white ass leprechaun Celtics are doing. Listen, the Pistons were doing the same thing the Celtics were doing, but they're representing a black city, right, that has this violent reputation, and they get labeled the bad boys. And I think it's easy to villainize Negroes.
I agree. Okay, if we're going down the political, socio-political stance.
We know that sports in that is always intertwined, right?
They always do that. And AJ Fit, I do not appreciate you calling me shut the fuck up, dog stabbing. It wasn't a stabbing. I stabbed. Okay, ass niggas.
It was a bludgeoning, AJ. Come on, man.
It's a little different. And
get your weapons right.
I don't appreciate you saying I've been sounding soft for the last 20 minutes. I just was just bringing out the point. In fact, this is the Pistons passing the ball right here. Look at them. Look at them. They're out of line.
Hey,
They're out of
that's a
line.
three. That's a
That's a
three. Looks
pass.
like a
That's not
looks
a
like an
pass.
assist to me.
Okay. It doesn't look like assist. You guys were out of line. Okay. Lambert was just a thug. He should have went to jail.
He played no different than Kevin McHale or any of those guys.
No,
Like
that's not.
he gave them back what they were giving him, just a little bit greater, and then it would frustrate opponents and get them out of their game.
But, okay.
And that was part of the shit.
Why
but
didn't
all I'm saying is, and I think you're failing to recognize
something about this guy. Why didn't the ref say something?
Because that was the style of the game. The Celtics played rough too. The Philadelphia 76ers played rough too. Man, listen, in 1983, I think it was, the Celtics and either 82 or 83, the Celtics and the 76ers got into a fight in a preseason game, dog. Like, that was 80s basketball. Like, that was early 90s. Like, these niggas fought in the preseason. That game don't even count. They didn't even come there for the game that day. They're like, I'm going to fuck somebody up. Like the game was just more thuggish back then in general. The Pistons leaned into it and took advantage of it at its height or at its decline.
I feel like, okay.
And then we stood out as the bad guys. We're like, what? That's what my dad taught me. And Larry Bird's over there, like, I don't even know what they play kind of rough.
I'm just saying, celebrities would go to the game and had to have a knife. That's all I'm saying. That's how bad it was.
I feel like he's jacking off and trying to kill himself at the same time. That's just a weird one. Neil, you'll be fine.
That was a weird one. That was a weird one. But I'm saying, okay, now I'm partially joking and partially I mean it. Yes, some people were violent back towards. Well, he deserved it.
You say, why was the D so dirty? But I'm saying, how bad were the bad boys? I mean, like, yeah, they fouled hard. I mean, come on, man. I could have said here. I know all of the. I know the history. I used to watch these games. You know what I mean?
Pictures I could find.
I mean, you got to understand. Like, this is before also kids gather around. This is before cable television and satellite and streaming and all of this stuff. Cubita 8, welcome.
Why?
But so like, yeah, I mean,
Pedro, you never.
No, I'm saying you. What?
AJ Fit is saying some.
He said Shang on edibles normally. Shang cuckoo. I mean, I don't. You could be on edibles, so I can't speak to the state of it.
Let me just make my point, okay, and then I will let you make your point. The reason I said the Detroit Pistons were a violent, not because I'm, saying the entire city of Detroit was bad, but I'm just saying the Detroit Pistons would do shit that was so obviously not just playing rough, but fouling, grabbing people, hitting them, starting fights. I just think
so
they didn't get enough hugs as children, as basketball.
No, just look in that picture. In that picture right there, who's wearing a mask? Bill Laimbeer. Why? Because somebody's hit him in his face, and I doubt if it was at practice. See, now why would he have to wear a mask if he was just the only one? If he's the only one beating people up, if he's the only one beating people up,
it was him. He didn't want anybody to recognize it.
He's like, give me the clear one. I don't want him to see me. If he was the only one beating people up, right? Then
he was.
How was he the one?
And
why is he wearing protective
look at it and look at that foul. That's Detroit Pistons.
That's a box out, and that's back when Scottie Pippen was just a little bitch for a while, man. For real, he wasn't. And once he stepped up and started playing tough, that's when that team, the Bulls team, was able to progress past the Pistons. But Michael Jordan was always going to ball and get his, but they were never going to get a championship without a number 2 like Pippen, who could actually play through that roughness. Because that was just the style of the league until Jordan cried about it.
All right, I'm going to put it up here now. Who got the most fouls in NBA history?
I mean, that's.
No, what do you mean that's stats? You got career stats.
Sometimes they call it foul and it wasn't one.
The 20 players with the most technical fouls in history. And guess
Well,
who
that's
that?
technicals is different.
Okay,
But go ahead, go ahead.
no,
That could
I'm
just be for mouthing off. That doesn't have to be for physical stuff. But
Draymond
who's
Green is number 20.
uh-huh.
DeMarcus Cousins, number 19.
Let's go top five. Who's five? Who's top
Top
five?
five.
Just
Top five.
yeah.
Uh, oh shit. Um, honorable mention. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He used
Karl
to talk a lot of
Malone.
shit.
Karl Malone. Charles Barkley. Rasheed Wallace.
Oh, absolutely. I knew Rasheed Wallace would be. Wait, are you at five yet? Who's number five?
Gary Payton is number 4.
Wait, who's number five?
Dennis
Rasheed.
Rodman.
Where? What number? Give us numbers, nigga.
He's
Who
not
is
all right.
number five? Who's number
Number
four?
5. Hold up. Number 5. I'm telling you. Number 5 is Dennis Rodman. 6
Okay.
is Dirk Nowitzki. Gary Payton is number 4. Rasheed Wallace is number 3. Charles Barkley is number 2. And number 1 is Karl Malone. God damn it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Rasheed Wallace, that's a different era Pistons, and you know.
But that's still Pistons.
No, but no, because we were talking about the bad boys, and that's not the bad boy era. That was a different era of basketball. And Rasheed's, those are technical fouls for Rasheed running his mouth and sometimes threatening referees after games. But that wasn't always, that was in Detroit. But you know, Rasheed Wallace used to curse and threaten the the refs a lot, but they weren't the same kind of physical fighters. They were physical on defense. They played good defense, fantastic defense, but it wasn't the same. It was within the construct of the game in the early 2000s, right? Which was
right. Okay, so you're saying, so you can't say Gary Payton?
Well, what about him? I mean, ultimately, for me, this discussion was me defending my Detroit Piston bad boys from being the ultimate villains of the NBA in all time. I'm like, everybody kind of played rough like that, and the Pistons just leaned into it in order to get past what was truly a brutal team, the Boston Celtics. And I don't know what you think it might have been like to go into Boston, the city of,
you know what,
and go play basketball in the late 70s, early 80s.
The record now. Guess who's number 1? God
in what? Number 1 in what?
Number 1 was fucking Boston. God damn it.
For what?
Most brutal most brutal fouls.
Come on, man. That's all I'm trying to say, dog.
I looked it up, but it said Bill Laimbeer of the Pistons' most ruthless player in history.
You know, but that's a persona he took on intentionally. I'm telling you, in order to get through the Celtics, and then absolute power corrupts absolutely. Then you just stay a bad guy. So you know what I mean? But because it worked. But ultimately, all of that was done to get through the Celtics. That's it.
Okay. Well, all right. Well,
I'm
I'm gonna put this up here. I did the research. It was Boston, and you're right. It was Boston. Everybody in the feed, don't you give Pedro no fucking props. The video won't play, but I'm gonna show you the audio. I mean the look. Bill Laimbeer of the Detroit Pistons, most ruthless player in NBA history.
Now, ruthless does not mean necessarily physically harmful or aggressive, right? You could be mentally ruthless, right? Like you could be you could talk shit and get into a nigga's head.
Okay, it says that Detroit Pistons fans love Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman, Joe Dumars, Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, who was in the top 5 pertaining to not only technical fouls, but also I looked at both because there was 2 categories. Ben Wallace, Richard Hamilton, who I didn't know was up there in there, but Robert Horry, Larry Bird. They hate Larry Bird. They hate Michael Jordan, whatever. But he was voted according to this. Now I'm just telling you, I'm looking at it. And then they got, when I read on what the thing pertained, and this is where they said, Detroit Pistons. Oh, wait a minute. Detroit Pistons, the most fouls in a single season.
What year?
1985 to 1986.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, the Pistons finished third in the Central Division and had an early playoff exit, but Lambert put up 16.6 points. Blah, blah, blah. But in perspective, Draymond Green emerged as a superstar. Da, da, da. I'm reading it, but no, it says admittedly. But they admitted. Wow.
That one season we had the most fouls.
Okay, yeah, it said
I'll take
it says 1985 to 1986. And they were number 2 in technical fouls. Boston was number 1.
Come on, man. I'm just trying to tell
I'm
y'all
telling you,
what it
Pistons
was.
committed the 10th most.
I'm just trying to tell y'all. All I was trying to say is Boston was extremely violent back then, and that created the Bad Boys,
Okay, but Reed,
which ultimately created a Jordan-centric league.
okay, right. Okay, but the
And
Bad Boys
that's
from
how that went.
1985 to 1986, Pistons committed the most fouls in the league and averaged a whopping 0.2 technical fouls per game. Wow.
Hey, man, I'll take it.
More than the stats, Lambert also never knew when to tone it down. In 1987, Lambert got tied up under the basket with Larry Bird and body slammed Larry Bird.
Yeah. He didn't fuck around. No, Bill Lambert didn't fuck around. I mean, he's a city favorite. You know, honestly, he is the embodiment of the Dave Chappelle joke where he's like, you ever see a group of black dudes and then like one white guy?
Yeah.
That white guy is the one you got to watch out for because he's had to do so many crazy things just to prove himself to these black dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, of the bad boy Pistons, the white boy was the craziest one.
Okay,
and ain't nothing wrong with that. You need, they're called allies now.
I know, but
we all need white friends like that. Shit.
I did not expect to read it like that.
Body slam. Yeah. Bro, yeah, they used to go ham.
1987.
One time Robert Parrish got so frustrated with Lambert that they're going up for a rebound. Parrish is on Lambert's back, and as Lambert is coming down, he just goes boop, 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 like on his, like from the top of his head, like from behind, just like clobbers this nigga's face, dog.
For real? Oh,
let me see. Wait, hold on. Let me see if I can pull that up.
Also, okay, wait a minute. He said he body slammed him, and then which resulted in a scuffle. The fight was funny for 2 reasons. First, Larry Bird is someone I would avoid fighting at all costs, even if I was almost 7 feet tall. Larry Bird is 64 now, and I still wouldn't want to fight him. This is what the writer said. But Lambert body slammed him and offered the reason wasn't his fault, even though it clearly was. To be fair, this is what I would do if I found myself around Larry Bird. I don't know if this is funny, being funny. Off the court, Lambert had no arrest record, has hosted.
Okay, but you would have to say that.
No, it just says it. But they said that he was too ugly for the sport.
All right. Let me talk. You want to talk about ugly for the sport?
I'm just saying what it. Okay, so that's what it said.
I just want to show you this.
That was just hilarious. And it was they actually had it in bold print. And Larry Bird and him got entangled, and Lambert body slammed Larry Bird. Okay, so
all right, now watch this. This is Robert Parrish versus Bill Lambert. Rebounds about to come off the rim. They're in Boston Garden back in the day.
Okay.
I just watched.
That almost made me cry. I don't know why.
You should. Everybody should remember this clip in my mind. But this is infamous, classic Celtic shit to me.
Doesn't fall. The tip by Parrish. He can't get it to fall, and Parrish to the ground.
No, did you see that? Please tell me you saw that.
He just. Wow.
Play by Darren Day. It doesn't fall.
How are you gonna replay it?
He can't get it to fall, and Parrish takes Lambert to the ground.
Hey, no. Let's just see it one more time.
Wow.
By Darren Day. It doesn't fall. The tip by Parrish.
Pop.
Fall, and Parrish takes Lambert.
You know, a lot of people in the feed are taking your side, and I don't appreciate it.
He got like three good ones in there just to
I really don't appreciate this for you people in the feed.
I'm sorry, guys. You know, I got to stand up for mine. You know, like the Pistons, bad boys, especially.
All right. Do you agree with this? Okay, AJ Fitz
You,
said you sneeze on
yeah.
players nowadays and they fall. Biggest actors they need Oscars. Do you agree with that?
Well, that was a trend. I know in college they have a flop rule. I assume they have one in the NBA at this point. I'm not quite sure, but they tried to stop the flopping. But yeah, I think flopping was a big thing for a
Big
minute.
thing.
Um, you know, I think there's a fine line between, because back then, as physical as that league was, it was also like, oh, my hip and my neck are touching. They're like, here, just take a shot and get back out there, right? So
Right.
like there was a bit of like that, using guys as just meat. And now, and as a result of Jordan, realizing that individual players are commodities in these senses, and businesses and corporations, uh, you know, managing player time, taking time with injuries, I think is important as well. Some guys sometimes use things politically leverage wise to negotiate contracts. I'm not sure how wrong that is, given how much power ownership in the league has. It's like,
Okay.
some of these guys,
I
some of
see
these
what you're
guys
saying.
need to flex some of this stuff
I
and need to take care of their bodies perfectly, because like they were noticing, like I think it was in the NFL, that they've put in a lot of time and money and research into player care and health and all of this stuff, and they're experiencing more injuries, more hamstring pulls, more um, what's it, NFL or NBA? Actually, it's the NBA, and just more injuries, and it's like, oh, this doesn't make sense. We're supposed to be putting time to prevent this stuff, and it's like, well, they're playing, more back to backs, and maybe being rushed through therapies and not managed well, and
well, no, right
so
now the
so
bigger
there's
players.
a bit, so
No,
some and then, but then coming back from that era, you look back
right.
and you're like, oh,
The, yeah.
they look soft, but it's like it's kind of a
No,
different
the
time.
bigger players do spend. Like I said, LeBron spends about $1 million on just taking care of his body. Just
Yeah,
that's what I heard. I don't know if
yeah.
that's the actual
No, it
number,
makes
but
sense. Yeah.
and I will say, after reading some of the articles and some of the stuff I've been looking up, this is through Fanside Sports, and this was also Piston Powered Sports. So even the Pistons, um, okay,
Fans.
Detroit Pistons. This is yeah. It's Detroit Pistons. Bill Lambier was an efficient and ruthless foul machine.
But
Wow.
listen to that, efficient and ruthless, right? So fouls are part of the game, right? There was a whole thing called the Hacker Shack, where
I know.
at some point, because Shaq was not great at shooting free throws, fouling became a strategy, right?
All right.
So, and sometimes you foul to stop a free layup from happening and put a
Right.
guy on the line on purpose to take the chance of him missing one or possibly two, right?
Okay. But
So fouls are strategic, are a
strategic. I
strategic
give it.
part of the
Who's
game.
Zaza Pachulia? Julia.
He's a player,
A notable dirty player and an overall lunatic on the court. Only averaged 1.8 fouls in 2017, the year he single-handedly destroyed Spurs dynasty. Dennis Rodman and Juan
well,
Artest never averaged 3.5 more than 7 times, which is how many times Bill Lambier hit that number. But then they go, Lambert committed foul after foul after foul, but he was incredibly. I'm reading what it said. He was incredibly efficient. I don't know what that means.
well, that means he could contribute offensively before fouling out. You know, you could
Oh,
come in and get 6 fouls real quick and do nothing else in the game and not be, worth a dime. But Bill Lambier also was a rebound beast. He was very, very early in that center game who could step out and hit
okay,
threes. So he's a center that could hit threes, get those boards, play defense, get blocks, and score. You know what I mean? So I bet you if
okay,
you looked at his lifetime scoring average, or any of the championship seasons, the scoring average,
okay.
it was respectable
But
team wise to the number of fouls he was giving.
Okay, but this is the wild shit they end this with. It makes sense that the Pistons fans loved him. What? Although he played for another team, they wouldn't. If he played for another team, they wouldn't.
Mm-mm.
29 fan bases don't love him at all and only remember him as the bad boy of Detroit basketball.
Right. But if he was your guy, you would love him
Well,
because
that's
he
what
did.
they were saying.
No,
The
I'm saying like
Detroit
if he was a
fans.
Laker, he'd have a statue in LA.
Well,
I think, bro, if we'd be on Lambeer Drive. Yeah, nigga, I live at Lambeer in Technical
yeah,
Foul Lane.
but okay,
And
so it's just the way they wrote that was fucking hilarious, and that's hilarious. He was an efficient foul.
coming to you live from the Lambeer Promenade.
But
Listen, if
aside
he
from
would
that,
have.
I will admit it. Damn, today flew fast. I admit it. Pedro, when I looked up the other information, because I was just looking for dirt on the Pistons,
Just trying to shit on the city.
just trying
It's
to shit
already
on
been
the
through
city.
hard
I
times.
wasn't trying to shit on the city. I was trying to shit on the Pistons because I
No,
feel
I
like
get
the
it.
Lions. I feel like the Lions, for all their losing, I still give them props. And this year they had a good year.
Yeah.
Okay,
They
but
did.
I did look. Most of my research and photos I was looking for were all something where there was violence, and yeah, and that's why. And this psycho, I don't know who he's pointing to, but it looks like it's me because
He's
I'm
like,
on that.
this one's for you, mom. His family always
And the
sat
stuff they
courtside.
did, the stuff they did to Jordan. When you look at some of the photos I found, they absolutely were manhandling this
Yeah,
motherfucker. No, I'm just
what?
saying they were. They
I
were.
mean, the dude. Otherwise, the dude's gonna do whatever he wants on the court. So, you know, and
And
listen, the reason why Detroit accepted this, and I don't know if it was a result of us watching the Pistons or, um, you know, it would have just happened anyways in the city. I have a sense that that was just the way the city was. Is like we played hard and fouled hard on street ball, gym ball. You know what I mean? Whatever it was, like even city basketball, like nothing really. It just doesn't really come easy in the city. So I think I
okay,
think I
but
think I think the city itself watched the Pistons grow into a team that was willing to fight the Celtics, who were bullies at the time, and it kind of went both ways. And
when
Detroit
I
was a
did the
city,
research,
yeah,
Boston, even though the top five were, you had two Detroit players in the top five. Okay,
a,
pertaining to
a foul. No, it was just Rasheed Wallace. Oh, Dennis Rodman.
it was Dennis Rodman too. So
Oh,
that was that I put it in there. It was when he was with the Pistons. He didn't
yeah,
foul as
Dennis
much,
Rodman. It was more physical shit, probably.
right, with the
And
Pistons than he was with the Bulls.
Rasheed was more mouth stuff, and that was a different era.
Okay, so I'm just saying that top 20, that's what they had. Now, when I looked at it in more depth, and I don't want to fucking say it, but it was fucking Boston Celtics
They were
were
brutal, dog. They were
actually,
the
when you
fucking.
look
It was
at
like,
right, they were the more dirty, uh, cheating kind of
all
physical.
right, as a social experiment, guys. If you ever want to understand what the Boston Celtics were like in the 1980s, as a basketball team physically, I want you to go to any bar in Orange County, California, and start blasting "Jump Around" by House of Pain,
Yeah, no, I mean,
and
yeah,
and and watch how they physically interact with each other, and that would be not just Celtic, but NBA basketball in the 80s, but I think led by the Boston Celtics, who were one of those things. And, the Lakers kind of ended up playing a bit like that to fuck with the Celtics, too. But they were more of a Showtime finesse team until they got to the finals. And,
right.
the
Okay,
80s, the
but
80s were about Lakers
you
Celtics
know
for
what?
the
I'm
most
gonna
part.
say it right now, and I'm gonna admit it freely. Nobody gets any money off me today. Uh,
There you go.
Pedro was right. When I did more research, my research was biased because I was just looking for
Just reasons to hate Detroit. Just trying to get under my skin.
Pistons, just to hate the Pistons. And even though they had a weirdo, I don't know what the fuck what is he doing? Oh, that's Carmen.
Yeah, man, it's a great story. He was handling luggage at the airport prior to becoming an NBA player. So
and this wasn't
the
Water
kid-
Boy. I made that up. That was not actually him. This guy.
that was our trainer, Mike Abdenauer.
Yeah, and they didn't throw things at people. I apologize. But when I did the research, it was actually, and I don't want nobody to say shit to me after this. I won't mention it again. It was the Boston Celtics actually that were the more flagrantly
Physically brutal.
And fouls. I'm looking at the stats.
At the
Fouls.
stats.
It was actually the Boston Celtics. The Detroit Pistons, I'm gonna say it, weren't even number 2.
There you go.
They were number 4.
There you go.
They were number 4.
That's good. That was Bill Lambier being efficient.
It was the
That's when you're more efficient with your
is that
fouls.
the wildest thing that they said he was efficient? Bill Lambier.
Well, I mean, it's like you sometimes you got to know when to foul, and it is about
I know,
how much playing time we can get out of you before you foul out. If you're going to play,
when you to gut the other player, yeah, this is the time.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Man.
Savage AF, look, I'm gonna take this L. I'm gonna take it L, especially
hey, man,
you came back this one. This wasn't shit I could say to this. God damn, there was like, where did you find this one? Because I was looking, but that was
that's that's the one they don't show. But in Detroit locally, there was always another story being told. It wasn't about how physical the Pistons were and are they playing too dirty. It was like, no, these niggas out here clotheslining too, so don't trip. We'd be like, cool. Because I used to be a big I in high school, especially, I would read the sports page incessantly, like every day. My mother kept a news subscription. Sorry, kids. Before the internet, the thing called a newspaper, and it had a front and a back.
That is so trippy that we're at this point where
and I used to read the newspaper and the sports section every morning for breakfast.
And this article that I read was in Sports Center. It was an article from Sports Center why the Pistons were considered the bad boys, but they also said it was basically considered. But I'm just telling you, in the article, I've read most of the article. They said it was branded off the team's personality and off of Isaiah Thomas's personality.
He was the leader. It was his team. He was.
I know that's why, that's why in the article,
a number 2 pick,
but
and
the best shit of all was Lambier and Larry Bird got tangled up under the board, and then Lambier proceeded to body slam.
I mean, you gotta understand. This is a major.
He picked him up.
Yeah. And Bird is a major at that time. He's a major NBA commodity. He's a product. It's like
you can't be doing
Bird, Magic, and an emerging Jordan are the main sellers for the NBA. They're the ambassadors. So
I'm gonna say this. And Bird, even though right here he looks like.
So that being said, the league isn't gonna go for that. By the way, Shang, I want to thank you for conceding today and admitting the L.
I did the research.
No, and it's a big thing. And ultimately, I want to leave us with this: is that competition like this, sports in general, debate. It's ultimately about sportsmanship, right? So I've always said that if I ever have sons,
Pedro, no, just
if I ever have kids, if I ever have kids and they're in sports, I want them to win, but I want them to learn how to lose.
No, I want them to stab the other opponent,
which means
body slam them when they're not looking.
And I just want them to be able to lose gracefully. Learn from the mistakes, move on, and come back and try and compete again, right? Like really put forth that effort. So I ultimately think. Wait, no. Hold on. I ultimately think that competition is about sportsmanship, and I just want to point out that the National Basketball League gives out an award for sportsmanship every year, and that award is called the Joe Dumars Award. Bitch, go Pistons, bad boys, Detroit basketball. Fuck you up all day and be a sportsman about it because we're efficient with our fouls.
How can you go with that and then they say, hey, you know what? I take it back. I take back everything I said.
Let the liquor tell it.
Fuck the Pistons. No, man, when I started reading the articles, I was like, why the Boston Celtics names keep coming up?
Yeah.
Because you know what I did? I was putting in purposely, typing in shit.
Nope, I hear it. Evelyn must be from Chicago. She's like, Isaiah got the physical toughness from playing basketball, from playing playground basketball on the west side of Chicago.
So before we wrap up, I'm going to say yes. I will concede that from some of the research I was doing while Pedro was finding, damaging pictures of my argument, the vote is consistently, when I look at the vote up here, LeBron is voted across the board the best basketball player. GOAT. He's the GOAT. And then also that the Detroit Pistons were not the dirtiest team. It was actually the Boston Celtics, the Houston Rockets, which I did not see that coming.
Yeah, man.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I'm like, who was on that? Ralph Sampson and them was.
I don't know, but that's what in the article. They had the thing, and then and Lambert.
They was dealing with the frustrations of living in Texas in the 80s.
So they just were doing dirt. And I do concede that Detroit Pistons were not the dirtiest team.
We went just,
And I'm surprised you didn't go. I couldn't hear you. Could you say it louder?
No, because I also don't back down. I'm not like, we played pure basketball. It's like, no, nigga, we just played. Like, it reminds me of my senior year playing against Southwestern High School, which is where Jalen Rose and Rashawn Leonard and
they had
Howard Isley.
Right, they had
it's a basketball school, right?
Right.
But and we fucked them up in that game. But the first 3 plays of the game, I'm lined up at wide receiver, and the cornerback just, I had I had an open vision mask or whatever, and on my helmet, and the fucking cornerback just sticks his elbow in my fucking left eye, right? I was like, what the fuck is that, right? Next 2 plays, he tries it again, and I catch it both times, but that third time, we ended up at the bottom of the pile, and I just took these 3 fingers, and I grabbed his fucking esophagus like this and shit, and I squeezed a little bit, and I just said, we can play football or we can play dirty. It's up to you, motherfucker. And the rest of the game, every snap, that motherfucker was like, backpedal, open, backpedal this way, sir. I was like, get the fuck out of my way.
I tried football because of peer pressure. They were like, well, you're big, you should play. And I apparently didn't know how to shut off the aggressive.
You got to turn off the anger. It's very controlled.
I apologize, Coach Frazier.
Didn't mean to break your jaw.
Didn't mean to hit you in the head with my helmet.
Oof, yes.
It just happened, and you were absolutely justified for kicking me off the team.
And that's why you can't get a gun. Okay, it all makes sense now.
Why did you?
Like regarding helmet incident.
How did you? How you gonna go full circle and bring it back to that?
They're like, sir, we have complaints from a high school coach and a pack of dogs that you're very, very, very fine.
Yeah, Coach Frazier, like, don't give that nigga no gun. Wait a minute, you ain't even supposed to be here. Why you even say that? Well, he's an asshole.
But
he was.
But my point was with the Southwest. My point was with the Southwest story is that sometimes, people bring a level of aggression to you.
And you got to respond.
And I think Detroiters are so cool until you come with that bullshit.
Well,
and they were like, because I know that day I was like when that nigga hit me in my eye, I was like, are we doing this? Like, I was like, oh, cool. Real cool. And the first chance I got, I was like, nigga, I will beat your motherfucking mother's head. And it was perfect because we were on the bottom of a pile and no rest could see me. It was just like, it was this moment. I'm looking in his eyes like, you want to die today over this? I got homecoming tonight after this. And then that night, I won homecoming king. And I'm standing up there like, I almost killed a dude today. Hey, everybody.
Hey,
I was like, I choked a man.
Do you know
Thank you for the
what
scrap.
crushing an esophagus can do to you?
I was like, this nigga went limp under me because I fucking
You know
had his
what?
life in my face.
And somebody said, you know what? I think Phaedra's a little crazy. He choked the guy. But that happened. No,
I love football.
I just, and I also, even though I concede, I really don't appreciate you bringing it full circle back to the guns thing. I think that was out of line. I think that was
I
out of
think
line
you
of
know.
you, young man. And but I'm
I like to
working.
connect the dots.
I'm dealing with it. I just don't want to pay $7,000. But because the guns don't cost that. But the guns I'm gonna get gonna cost that much.
Nigga, that's how much I paid to get guns. You about to
Oh,
pay that much to get the right to get guns. Like
which
Jesus
is
Christ.
yeah, it's crazy. But and I read the paperwork fully. I just fuck them.
I get it, bro.
Listen, Savage
I'm like, is
AF.
there a statute of limitations? Like,
Uh,
if you wait 7 more months, can it just?
can you get the gun then? Because
When does it go
when the
away?
crackers go crazy when they lose the
It won't
2024
matter.
election,
It won't matter.
it's gonna go down because it's not gonna just be the capital. It's gonna be the capital. They're gonna go at all of us. But
Here we go.
I and the people in the feed, AJ Fit really didn't appreciate all your little verbiage. I see the whole line. Thank you, no other. Miranda, say you still love me, but I took an L today. Wait a minute, is that a little? Yeah, there's a little blood coming out my nose, right? Yeah, because I took an L because I didn't do the research right. I was so busy looking for dirt on the fucking Pistons. I didn't look at the other
And that's
team.
easy to find. That's easy
Oh,
to
there was
find.
so many. Did you see how many pictures? And that's not all the pictures.
Bro.
There was
That
other
was the
pictures.
point.
There was other
They put a
pictures.
target on them niggas' backs.
Yeah,
And
they
it was
did.
like, they were the bad guys. I'm
But the
like, what about
article.
this white ass team from Boston?
What about
And they're
these?
like, oh, no, they were great.
They were. Come on, no. But man, yo, that I don't know why that fucked me up. They said that he proceeded to body slam Larry Bird. But why
And
would
it's
they
like,
put it in block letters? That was hilarious.
because it was Larry Bird. Nobody really treated Bird like
Oh, and
that.
they said that he was the second most hated
Oh yeah,
in
Larry
basketball.
Bird,
In basketball.
Larry Bird grew up in rural Indiana playing basketball with black janitors. And I'm not even making shit up.
Oh
Like,
no, I saw the thing
so
on it.
if you wonder why the boy could hoop, that's why. And he obviously picked up the shit talking part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it worked.
I heard that him and
Larry
Magic
Bird, the bad motherfucker.
him and Magic still would go back and forth with each other even after they stopped playing. They would say little
Oh
shit to each
yeah,
other. Because
that's a lifetime thing. They changed the league,
yeah, I agree.
and then Jordan, took it to this other sort of corporate product. But
Marketing.
I think Bird and Magic made it they brought the eyes, and Jordan became the dollars behind it, like ultimately. But Magic and Bird, they brought the dollars too. But
Oh
it was
yeah,
like
and I think that
they,
if you look at the Bulls, that whole run with Jordan,
mhm.
Pippen,
the two
Jordan. No,
runs.
yeah, 2 runs. I'm sorry, Jordan, Pippen. You got to give Rodman, even though I thought he was a fucking psycho then. Now I see that he made $8 million selling his book of
Well,
him
and
being
he
butt
was a
naked
part of
on.
this. Yeah, he was a part of the second run, but they had got Horace Grant, fucking John Paxson.
Yeah, Paxson,
So they had
who
a
I
lot.
didn't like, but still, I didn't like
Yeah, I
him.
mean it became the point. They built pieces around these
Right,
two
but if
stars.
you look at it, even though I thought that Rodman was a crazy man, 19 rebounds a game ain't nothing to sneeze at. I'm gonna give him props, but I just back then I was like, the fuck is wrong with this nigga? Put your clothes on when you ride your motorcycle. What the fuck are you doing? But then,
You're more aerodynamic though, but naked. I'm gonna tell you that
yeah,
right
but
now.
naked. But then he takes a picture and his book sells 8 million copies. So
I'm telling you, I'm not riding behind a motorcycle with a butt naked rider though, because I'm not gonna look at your black hole of the universe
it just
while I'm driving. I don't
and
want.
you
Yeah.
you bent over and you're like, nigga, that's not wrong tunnel. And then you kind of,
Yeah, exactly. I'll take the
yeah,
bridge.
yeah, man. No, but I'm just saying. So I didn't like him then, but now when I look back, I go, he was a marketing genius because little kids were dyeing their hair red and green and with colors when he would dye his hair each time. and his jersey was one of the top selling out of the Bulls.
Oh yeah, no, he was a beast in what he did. Like, you know what I mean? He got the rebounds, he played the defense. You know, he was there for the
One of the
putback and the
only people
occasional.
that could, they said one of the only people that Shaq even said that defended him, and he was
Mhm.
because
He played hard and
he was gorilla strong. They said he was gorilla strong, and he had like 2% body fat or some crazy shit. And they said like you know,
and the methamphetamines probably helped.
that probably
Nigga
helped. The
was hyped
fact he
up
was
on
doing
something.
drugs all the time.
That nigga was like, "What?
The
Yeah, I'm gone all day.
documentary,
What?
yo,
Let me see."
man, the documentary on this motherfucker is hilarious. He was buck wild, and the like
One time I was at a club in LA. I think it's called Nightingale right now, but it's been called many things over the years. I don't even remember what it was, but right on La Cienega in Melrose. And man, I'm at the bar, and you know, you just feel a presence approach, and it came up on the left, and it was motherfucking Dennis Rodman, and in his full face piercings and every
right.
like just and this nigga just put his arm around me, and literally, I think verbatim, this is what he said to me. And
No, I met him.
then walked away. Bro, this was the crazy. Like, I was like, I idolized you as a child. I have T-shirts with your face on them. What did you just say? Like that nigga was like,
I
he
met
was
him
so
at this
fucked up.
on La
He was like,
Cienega at a bar. He came over and said, "You know what? I'm paying for everything," and he paid for the entire club's drinks. And I was like, "Damn, I wish I drank right now." Fuck. And then
Nigga, the night I do that, it'll be Bacardi presents Black Pedro night. Like,
no,
I
he just
ain't buying
walked
that.
in.
That'll be
He just
sponsored.
walked in and did that. And then I talked to him for a second, and then he was like, "Man, have fun, have fun." But he was a nut. He was a nut. So, and speaking of nuts, I'm a nut for actually thinking that I could actually get out of this without taking the L because even the fucking
It's
feed
all
was
good,
just
bro.
going, Shane, come on, you better sound real soft. It's not that I was soft, it's just that all of the information I had saw on the Detroit Pistons was really negative. So
But
when I
that's how
did
they
the
spin it against
I know, but when I
against.
did the actual research in the different sports mags things I was typing in, it wasn't even them. It was the Boston Celtics. I'm
uh,
like, get the fuck out of here.
I'm gonna argue that the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys specifically, was and is and will forever be a black brand, right? Like it was, you know, a team that didn't have a lot of white guys on it,
Yeah.
and the one who did acted, to be honest, real niggerish. You know what I'm saying? Like Bill
Yeah.
Laimbeer will fuck some shit up real quick, right? And we needed that, and it got us to where we needed to be. We got 2 championships in a row, and winning back to back. Anybody will tell you is rare, if not impossible, right?
I know.
And so then
I give them
the
props for
teams that
that.
are no, but I'm just saying that so when you say that all the information I got was so bad,
When I was, yeah, when I was
it's
coming up,
because it's been bastardized. The Detroit Pistons, that especially the bad boys, were bastardized as you know, as a bad brand, a black brand, and you know, it represented blackness, and America, you know, will go at that. You know, will attack that when it can. You know, when you look at the next era of Piston champions, the Detroit basketball, like
right?
I'm not even sure what to call them other than my niggas. But Chauncey Billups, Rip
Oh yeah, no,
Hamilton,
but
Tayshaun
Chauncey
Prince,
Billups carried himself in a different way,
hold
though.
on, Ben Wallace, like
Big Ben
they were
Wallace.
all
You
had
gotta
a
say
brand,
Big Ben.
but Big Ben Wallace, but Rasheed Wallace, the other Wallace brother, um, did represent and ultimately was the catalyst that year. He was the last piece that was brought in from Portland at the trade deadline in 2004.
Right.
That and that was the year they won the championship. But his fire, his mouth, his his sort of physicality was reminiscent of the Bad Boys, and I think was the ultimate piece that made that team go.
Right.
Like Chauncey was the leader, maybe the steering wheel or
But
whatever.
Chauncey,
But
but Chauncey was more
Rasheed was
digestible
kind of
though.
the engine. Like it was like with him we went. You know, if he lost his shit, we were probably gonna lose. But when he was locked in and focusing on his shit,
Right.
but still talking that shit, like to this day, if you call uh you know an unjustified foul in Detroit against Detroit, and the player misses the free throw, we gonna scream out "ball don't lie," and that's because that's Rasheed Wallace used to yell that shit. He could call for a foul that wasn't a foul. Motherfucker would go to the free throw line, miss the shot, and Rasheed would be like, "Ball don't lie." The
Yeah.
ball don't lie. That's something we always yelled on the court back
But
in the day.
but
Ball don't lie.
but he did come up in the top technical fouls.
Because he ran his mouth. He said he
Yeah,
used to talk a
he
lot of
used to
shit.
get kicked out a lot too.
And
He used to get kicked. But I'm saying I agree. But if you look at the Detroit Pistons later, they carried themselves in a different way, though. They did carry themselves in a different way.
oh, the second team was a totally different team. And if they were in a totally different league. I think the Pistons, I think the one through line and what will ultimately always make a Detroit Pistons team successful whenever they are is that they will have to be an elite, a league leading defensive team. Because we're probably not going to always get the premier offensive weapons. So we're going to need a great coach who has a great offensive system and some really, really great defensive players who, defense wins championships, man. I'm telling you, it creates easy opportunities on the offense. And then you don't need a Jordan or a Kobe or whatever.
But you
And,
can't really say that. No, no. You know why I say that? I don't think that the Sacramento, or now they're not Sacramento, the Golden State Warriors are more of an offensive team than a defensive team, and they.
because the league is different right now. But I'm telling you, if you ever found it, if there's a team in the league
I think that's in
that
football, not in basketball.
no, in basketball, it would still be relevant. I'm telling you, it would still work. I think it's still who the Spurs are. They're gonna be back at some point. Certain franchises are gonna maintain certain kind
Well,
of identities.
yeah, but I'm saying if you look at the Golden State Warriors, it's all offense. It's not as much defense. They just simply outscore everyone else. I mean, period.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
get
mean, it's not because defensively they really
it.
don't. I mean, their number one players are
So,
going to
but
be
I'm
heavily.
saying like there is a defense for that. Nobody has it yet, but it exists. And the
True.
team like the thing is the team that can hold if Golden State is scoring 120 points a game per year or whatever, if you can hold them to 100, well now I think now you've got some room. And
Well,
I'm not talking about defense that holds teams to 60 points, 70 points like the Pistons used to do, but like you know
yeah,
either
no,
way,
no, no, no.
but
I agree. I agree with you.
The bad boys, and the Detroit basketball era were both built off of defense, and that'll ultimately always be our success. We
And
should probably
also
get out
body
of here.
slams,
I could ramble about this shit for hours.
and also body slams. Uh,
Yeah,
the-
only on the league's best players, man. All right, man.
I thought you'd hear that in wrestling. If I was reading an article about wrestling, I go, "Oh, that makes sense." But in basketball article, you wouldn't. I don't know why that
He
makes
came off
sense.
the top rope on.
Right. So Savage AF will be back 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monday. Let me tell y'all something. We appreciate y'all, watching us, talking shit. Apparently, people felt the need to just insult me.
Well, I mean, you stepped out on the limb. It's all good.
Okay, it's okay.
Phenom Brown has an epic endorsement of Dennis Rodman there, the Worm, and I appreciate her recognizing his nickname because he could
Oh no,
squirm in
no, no.
between everyone and get the
Yeah,
rebound and
no,
yeah,
yeah.
and
I agree.
so we thank you guys for being here today.
Okay, and make sure you
It's Friday,
subscribe
right?
to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll feel better about yourself. Also, if tonight you happen to be around, come to it's called the Roosevelt. I'll be at the Cinegrill Theater tonight at 8 p.m. I'll be on that show, and then also after that, the Improv, and right then you'll see me lighting incense and patchouli. I'll be handing out patchouli
Frankincense and Myrrh will be opening for him.
Yes, and so I will be there. So make sure you check me out. That one's at 10:30. The other one's at 8:00. If you get a chance, come out. I'll see you then, and we will see you Monday. And I will take my L graciously as I say, "Hey, I was wrong. The Boston Celtics are the dirty pieces of shit that I thought that the Detroit Pistons were, but I was wrong. It was the Boston Celtics, and Larry Bird was a piece of shit too."
They played filthy back then.
All right, you guys take care of yourself. I'll talk to you in a minute, and have a good weekend.
Go.